Record to the cloud. All right. Make sure. Okay, we are good. All right. So because I just started the recording, I'm going to go back up. Private label, the easy way revealed is what we're getting into. And this is my friend and business partner, Jenny Hunt, who's the author of the Holiday Toy Guide. And it's just been a pleasure getting to know her and work with her. And so she and I are going to tackle this together. So stay tuned to the end. We got a super sweet bonus. So Jenny, you put these slides together. So tell them about the goals and what we're trying to get at here.
Yeah, so okay, everybody knows we're at the end of 2016, we're heading into 2017, and something came across my email last week, and I forget exactly how it was worded, but it was something along the lines of, are you always making the same goals every year? And I'm thinking, how many times do we do that? We go and we make the same resolutions for our business, for our personal life, or whatever, every single January 1st. And so I just wanted to, we're all in that state of mind right now, but hopefully instead of just looking at, what are the goals do I want in my business? Like, can I be scalable? Can I grow? Let's be more specific this year and the how. And I think private label, wherever you are at, a lot of people spend Q4 digging into online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, getting those toys, just hustling like crazy. And, maybe you're tired of that. You're tired of the hustle, tired of trying to hunt things down and find inventory from the retail arbitrage or the online arbitrage. Somebody posted, I think it was Mike, in our mentoring group, and they said, I just walk right by the clearance aisles now. I don't I don't feel like I have to stop anymore. So what are your goals for your business this year, for 2017? Are you concerned about Amazon's brand restrictions? That's a big deal. For this year. And, and are you looking for something that's a truly scalable inventory option? So I imagine those are the reasons why you're here. You think you've heard about private label. It seems like the best thing. Maybe it's scary. And Ryan has put together an amazing method that it will blow your mind. It's super simple, super easy. And there's so many ways you can implement it tomorrow. So that's where we're headed. So thinking about your goals, what are your goals? And get real specific with them. Not just I want to grow, but where do you want to grow into? And we're going to be talking about why you should be considering private label for 2017. And then also, the main reason is you want more control, right? So private label gives you more control of your inventory, and I think that it gives you more control of your business. You're not dependent on Amazon quite as much. You still are, because if you're using that as your platform, but you get control across the board in so many ways that you don't have if you're hustling inventory, even with wholesale. You're the driver with private label. So those are the goals we're looking at meeting with private label in 2017. And I'm sorry, my screen went weird.
Uh-oh.
Shoot. Anyway, so there we go. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Anyway, so as we move in and talk about this, Ryan had already mentioned, if you have a question along the way, just to go ahead and put in your question, hit on the Q&A at the bottom. I'd love to hear what your goals are in relation to private label, and maybe some questions that you have specifically about moving forward into 2017. You want to talk about your story and your background?
I'll go with this briefly. So some of you guys have never seen this before, but for those of you who have, you can take a nap right now. November of 28, I was looking for a job. I was working on a political campaign up in Indiana, and we lost. And so I knew two things that were going to happen, and this was all I knew. All I was sure about was that I was moving to Texas. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area now. I've been here 8 years, and I was getting married. And so when I had been following Jim Cockrum since about 2003 or 2004, I first read his book Silent Sales Machine then. and just kind of gave me the bug for online sales and running my own business. I've always been kind of entrepreneurial, but at this point, I didn't have a job, and so I thought this is the time to do something. I had the freedom to be able to do it. It wasn't, that I had a lot of money saved, because we didn't. So it was a little bit scary time for that financially, but my mother-in-law and my wife had started an online furniture business, very part-time, selling furniture on Craigslist. So they had some wholesale sources of furniture, and they were literally posting ads, and they were either hiring, most of the time they hired people to do deliveries, although a couple of times my wife said that she did some of the deliveries. She'd rent a U-Haul truck and have the guys at the warehouse load it up for her, and then when she got there, she just hoped that there would be some big, strong person to help her unload it. So I can't imagine her doing that. That's just crazy. But she did, and it was extra money for them. So when I entered the picture, I said, let's do this. Let's make this work. But she said, no, you need to go get a job. But in all fairness, guys, she was very supportive. We did it. We made it our full-time thing. In 2008, we had 1 month where we sold in December of 2008. So it had $6,154 in sales. And I say that very sarcastically, as far as the woohoo from Homer Simpson. Basically saying, there's no way I was going to be able to make it work if that's what our sales figures were, because realize furniture, bigger items, more expensive items. But guys, God blessed it, and in 2009 we sold $250,000 worth of furniture. And that was just in Dallas-Fort Worth, just on Craigslist. And literally what we were doing was Melaine was posting the ads, and I would be the one to, when we made a sale, to go drive to the warehouse that was in Arlington, pick it up with her Toyota 4Runner, 1997 Toyota 4Runner, with a trailer that her dad allowed us to use, thankfully. I would pick it all up, load it up, schedule the deliveries, and I would deliver it all myself. It was a great starting point. I loved it because I was able to travel around. I was new to the area, and I like to eat, so it was awesome to be able to try all the new taco places, the hamburger places. My brother's in town from Indiana, and he literally comes here just to try the new restaurants. So I love that job, and I enjoyed the opportunity to work for myself. But I can't imagine doing that anymore. But I'm going from greater to greater, and so I'm thankful for that. It was a great opportunity. This was our house where we used to live, with furniture from front to back full of boxes. Literally, it's just people would come and pick up, and so we had to have furniture at the house many times for when the pickups happened, or if I picked up the day before from the warehouse and didn't do the deliveries till the next day. There is a picture of the Google Street View car actually drove by our house when I happened to be outside, and so I think this picture is really funny. But there's the trailer with the Toyota 4Runner, and that's what I used, guys, for probably 3 years, driving all over the Metroplex, delivering furniture. So that's how I got my start. 2012, in the beginning, like actually about April, we woke up one day and saw that all of our Craigslist ads had been flagged and deleted, and I won't get into all of that, but essentially it meant that a majority of our business was gone pretty quickly. Not every single area of the country did it were they deleted, but and a lot of them they were, and so it was very scary. But God had a plan, and in 2012 in the summer, we got to meet Jim Cockrum. He had an auction for that book that that my wife is holding there. And I say the lunch that changed my life, guys, and I know that's a very big, bold statement, but it's so true. He told me about Amazon FBA. He is now my close friend, a very close mentor of mine, and I've just partnered up with him on many things since then. And that relationship, and it's just like my relationship with Jenny, how that happened. Won't get into that story, but just the people you meet are so important. So Jim told me about FBA in 2012, and so we were shipping big, heavy items, and then now turned our focus to smaller, lighter items that we could get access to. Because we had access to all these wholesale furniture companies, we'd go to these shows like High Point in North Carolina, and they had a lot of small wholesale, a lot of small items that like decor items. So, and I found out about wholesale samples, and so they just opened my eyes to a whole brand new opportunity with Fulfillment by Amazon. And so, kind of slowly, furniture went by to the wayside until we're now no longer doing it at all on any platform. And then in 2013. I learned about private label. I took a course and learned a ton, and guys, private label is the way to go. For me, it's the best way to, if you're selling physical products, in my opinion, it's the best way to build a sustainable, long-term, what feels like a real business. Not that you can't have a real business with retail arbitrage. Jenny and I were just talking a few minutes ago about a guy that she knows that did $1 million in sales, just retail arbitrage. So you can totally do that, and that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just, for me, it's more of a hustle. It feels more of a hustle. You're always looking for more inventory, and just not the way I wanted. I didn't want to build my whole business on that. Not that you can't have a portion of that. We still do it. Actually, most of it my mom does in Indiana, so I hire that out and let her do that for me, just because I don't want the hustle of going from store to store. Marsha, you're right. You said it's too hard to scale. Absolutely. It is harder to scale. So private label for me feels like just more of a business. So what is private label? All right, let me take a drink. The easy way definition is just having your own brand of an item. And now you can call this white label, private label, Lance says orange label, whatever you want to call it, but you're going to like it. It's just having your own brand of an item. And the way I explain it is, if you're at Walmart and you're going through and you go through the aisle where the cans of vegetables are, for example, and you see the Green Giant green beans, and right next to those Green Giant green beans, you have Great Value brand. And Great Value is Walmart's private label brand. So Walmart doesn't have their own green bean farms or their green bean canning factories. They just go to a company like Green Giant and say, you guys are already experts of making green beans and canning them and processing them. And so we don't want to do that ourselves. You're the experts. We just want to buy your product, and we want you to put it in the same exact can, but instead of the Green Giant labels, we want you to put our labels on it. And that's private label. That's what I'm talking about. And that's what we do. And that, to me, is the easy way to do it. So guys, the question I want to ask you is, what if you had one or two products that consistently did 5,000 or more in sales each month? Now, the reason I say 5,000 is because that's just it's a figure that most people can wrap their head around. So I know there's people in my mentoring program. I have very close friends that are doing way, way, way more than that just in private label. But if I had a slide here that says, what if you had one or two products that consistently did 100,000 or more in sales each month, which again is doable, most people are going to be like, yeah, that's doable for that guy. But, I don't have the time to do that. Private label scares me. Gosh, Ryan, I just want to launch my first private label product. I can't even imagine $100,000 a month. Okay, so 5,000. Think about that. If it's just $5,000 and it's a 30% return on investment, which is very, very doable, that's $1,500 a month in profit, guys, on just one product. So very doable, and you would probably feel like this woman right here who's just excited. So again, a very doable figure, and you can just launch private label product after private label product. There's guys in our mentoring program, and they're doing this. They're just launching products quickly because they're doing it the easy way. They're not having to source from China. They're not taking 60 to 90 days.
They're like doing 2 or 3 a week.
Yes, exactly. Mike's doing that. So why I love it, why Jenny and I love private label. So guys, no competition. Jenny, tell them about toys. And you're the author of the holiday toy guide. So, and they already probably know it, but what's competition in Q4 like on a hot toy item?
Hatchimal.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And you've all been there if you're selling on Amazon, especially during Q4, and you get, one of the hot toys, and you get on there and there's 100 other sellers on there. Right. You don't have as much control over your price. You can do really well if you got a good deal on your inventory, but you still have the limits of your profit margin for how much you can, how low can you go, really. And so, yeah, no, toys, anything actually during Q4 is pretty competitive. So private label is awesome. Take that away. Take it away. You're the only seller on the listing.
Exactly. That's so true. Number 2 is replenishable. So have you guys, if we're doing retail arbitrage, for example, and that when you go to Walmart and you go to the clearance aisle and you find something, just think back to when this has happened to you. You found an amazing item and you bought all that they had and you sent them into Amazon, and as soon as they got there, they all sold, and you're like, oh man, I got to buy more of those. I got to find those. You go to all the Walmarts that you possibly can. You just can't find any more. You look online, or maybe they've been completely discontinued, so you can't even get your hands on anymore. And that's so frustrating. So with private label, if you get a product that's selling well, all you got to do is just replenish it. You just continue to keep it in stock, which if you're selling it really well, and sometimes that's even a challenge to keep inventory in stock. If it's selling really fast, but guys, that's replenishable. You can keep going back to the same well over and over again on the same product.
And even so, even if it does end up going, for whatever reason your supplier goes out or whatever, you find another supplier for that item. You can still, use your brand, and it's not an obstacle that you can't overcome. Whereas, like what Ryan was saying, with liquidation or clearance, or even a sale item, sometimes those are gone, and that's it.
Yep, that's so true. And it's so frustrating. Number 3 is it's unlimited. There's really virtually an unlimited amount of inventory, different types of products that you can do private label with. So the sky's the limit with it. Number 4, you can build your own brand. And this is something that Jenny and I are really excited about with Jason Miles. We've been talking to him. He's got his own Shopify course. We've been learning a lot from him about how to take your product off Amazon. Now, I know not everybody's ready for that, and maybe you'll never do that, and that's fine if you don't, but the option is there to do that. The option is not there to do that if you're buying a Hatchimal. But if you have your own Hatchimal type product or own private label product, you can go anywhere with it. You can sell it on Facebook. Jenny and I were talking she has a friend that's selling $6,000 a month on Facebook. Of different types of decor items. And so I bet she could probably come out with it, because she has a group of fans, of people in there that are just waiting for her to post the next thing. And guys, all she's doing is arbitrage. She's getting doors and posting it on these groups and making quick profits, but she's just really good at taking pictures and staging them. So I don't know why I brought that up, but all just to think about is that you could sell your product anywhere. It's your product. You can go beyond Amazon, have your own website, get it into a retail store, sell it on Etsy or eBay or wherever.
So here's the thing with Amazon, a lot of people, they see themselves as working for themselves, but if you've done this for very long, you quickly learn that you're really kind of working for Amazon. And they kind of have become your boss, and you might be able to stay at home and work from home, but you're playing in their sandbox. So it goes back to that control and being able to have more control of your business and how you want to do things. And so building a brand allows you're not stuck with Amazon anymore. You can take it anywhere. And that was the point of Facebook. You can take it to the Facebook marketplace, which is becoming hot right now. You can take it anywhere and follow the technology instead of being stuck in playing underneath somebody else's rules.
Yep, and this is here where the whole brand restrictions with things that you find via online arbitrage and retail arbitrage, with building your own brand, you just don't. That's not an issue. Yeah. So we don't have to think about that, which is so nice. Here's the inventory pyramid that I came up with. I wrote a book called Beyond Arbitrage with John Bullard Sr. And so guys, at the very bottom of this, it just shows, this is the typical, way for people to get started selling online. You start with items around your home, and then you go up to consignment. Now, not everybody follows this exactly. But this is a kind of the traditional path. Then you go to thrift stores or garage sales, and then a lot of people land right here and stop here with retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. Above here, they think it's getting scary. Wholesale, you actually have to talk to people, have to talk to vendors. Private label, definitely scary. There's so many different things that could go wrong. So absolutely, don't want to do that. So that's a lot of people. That's what they think. The harder, scarier method, and that's what I thought until I came across the easy way. But the point of this pyramid, guys, is that below here, there's a very little barrier to entry. Literally, I could train anybody or help anybody get an Amazon account and go to Walmart and find something and post it on Amazon and sell it. Anybody can do that. That's why there's a lot of people that are doing that. And that's why there's a lot of people doing retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. And if you guys have been doing this for a few years, you know that it's getting more competitive. There's more sellers on items that, like before, I would be on an item with 2 or 3 sellers. Now there's 10 or 12. And that just happens because there's more people learning about this awesome opportunity to sell online, sell on Amazon, and they want to do it. And it's very easy to get started. That's the appeal of it. And so, but it's very crowded down here. So that's why I like up here. Just you have complete control, as Jenny said. Now, she's right about you're playing an Amazon sandbox, so you can't control everything, of course, but it's as much control as you can possibly have if Amazon is your sales platform. So here, guys, the private label, the harder, scarier way, I think you all know what that is. Essentially, it's sourcing from China, sourcing from a site like Alibaba.com. The big reason why a lot of people are nervous about it, you're dealing with someone in a foreign country you've never met before. You can't talk to them face to face unless you actually travel there. Of course, there's the whole language barrier that you have to deal with. Do they speak the same language? Do they speak, is their English good? And do they understand what I'm trying to say? They understand my questions. Of course, the high shipping cost when dealing with shipping something quickly, like with air freight, it's so super expensive unless you got something really small. But then you have the wait times. But then, with the high shipping cost of ocean freight, it's not uncommon for it to be several $1,000s to ship products across. And you got to have a lot to ship across to even make that investment worth it. The high minimums, guys, this for me was the biggest obstacle. And so my story real quickly on private label and how I came across the easy way is that I took a course and I did some research on a product that was in a niche that I was already selling, and I immediately the price that I could have got it in China was about $10 each, but I had to get about 1,000 of them. So for me, $10,000 was going to be my minimum investment. Not even an option for me when I got started. We were just building our house, and so 10 grand was not going to go to a product that I had no idea if it was going to be successful. That's why it pains me, guys, to see these stories of folks that take expensive courses and they invest $5,000 or $10,000 in one product that they don't know that it's going to work, it's going to sell, and so they're stuck with it. And that's why I think the easy way method is such a game changer and a lifesaver, because you can start small, you can test it. You don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to try a product that you don't even know how well it's going to do. I mean, because you can do all the research in the world up to a certain point. You just got to launch the thing and see what it does. And there's a lot of research that we talk about, and we'll train you how to pick a good product and the things to look for. But until you actually send it in and try it, you don't know for sure how well it's going to do. And so would you rather spend 10,000 on a test or 500 on a test? Or in the case of Christy Michelle, who's in our private label mentoring program and one of our experts and a good friend of Jenny and mine, she launches products for under $100 and in less than 4 weeks, using even an easier method than mine. So and it's all included, it's all in the mentoring program, which we'll talk about. So the high minimums. So I went to a factory here locally that makes items like the one that I first started off with. And they said, we could make it, but it'd be much cheaper for you if you bought it from this wholesale company in Dallas. So I called the wholesale company and I just asked them if I could essentially take their products, take it out of their packaging, put it in my own, and put it under my brand. Like, yeah, we don't care. Just buy it from us. And guys, that's the easy way. And I kind of skipped ahead a few slides just with telling you that. That it was that simple, and it was a wholesale company that I worked with. So the beauty of that was that I only had to buy one case. So here's the other scary things. Customs, obviously, I had no idea what to expect with that, but with the easy way method, I didn't have to do any of that. The wholesale company was already importing these items and dealing with all the customs issues. And so I was able to drive to Dallas, 25 minutes away, and pick them up and get them listed on Amazon, get them prepped. Now I can make a phone call, or actually I don't even call them. I can send an email in the morning, and in just a few hours later, they have a driver with a pickup truck backing up to my driveway and dropping them off. We have a neighbor girl across the street that comes over and processes it for us. So that's how easy private label can be. And we're just switching out the packaging. Harder, scarier way again, is long wait times. 60 to 90 days is not uncommon at all. With the easy way method, I can have it again the same day. So easy way, I've kind of already told you a little bit about it, but essentially it's sourcing domestically. And so you can find a factory locally, a factory in the United States, but it's true that there's more factories, more companies that make things in China. And so just go to the wholesale company, find a wholesale company that is already buying from a Chinese factory or somewhere overseas. But it can be any domestic source. You know, a manufacturer, a wholesaler, a mom and pop person that's selling their own little goods, whatever it is. But domestically, wherever you're from, if you can source domestically, I call that the easy way. But we also have methods if you have to source out overseas to make it that even easy. Suppliers with private label programs. Jenny, tell me, you're good with this. Like coffee, for example. What's some of your experiences with companies that have programs in place already?
I'm not really sure what you're getting at, but
Okay, like a coffee company that's already used to doing private label.
right. Okay. So it seems to be becoming more common where you can even go to a website for a company and you scroll down, you're looking for some wholesale information and they'll have an option for private label. So a lot of companies will already offer private label. And there's one in particular, there's a coffee roaster that I was spending some time with, and we got a tour of their facility, and they, will do all the packaging and everything for you. They have it all totally set up. They know what we're talking about when we say private label. And the reason I didn't know really where you're going with that is because that's not always the easy way. Sometimes it is.
That's true. It may not always be. But there are a lot of companies that will do they already have designers. They're used to switching out packaging already. It's a lot of companies in the health and beauty and the grocery niches that do this. Like example, the one I said earlier with Great Value and Green Giant. Now you're probably not going to private label green beans, but I was at a show a couple years ago in Chicago. It was the Private Label Manufacturers Association show. And tons of grocery companies there. They're already used to doing this. They already do private label brands for all the smaller grocery stores. And so you can go to a company and say, I know you're already selling to this company, but I also want my own private label of this. Candy, oh gosh, so many products that you can do this with. And again, most of the time with the private label programs, a lot of them are in health and beauty and grocery. And so if you don't want to go that route, some of other companies may not have an actual program in place, but if they understand what you're trying to do, it's so easy. I took a group of folks to ASD. It's a big trade show in Las Vegas back in August. And so we had 15 people. I took 8 on Monday and 7 on Tuesday. And I just walked them around and we visited vendors. Now, if you're familiar with ASD or have ever sourced there, most of the people that are going to ASD to buy are looking to buy wholesale, sell retail. And we're looking to do the same, but it's just a twist with this. And so literally you're just going up to vendors and saying, can I buy that product, take it out of your packaging, put it in my own packaging, and have it be under my brand? All of them except one said, oh, absolutely, no problem. We don't care what you do with it after you buy it. There was only one company that didn't want us to do that, and that's because they didn't want their products on Amazon in any way, shape, or form, no matter whether it was their brand, our brand. The beauty of this, guys, is I know that if you've gone to trade shows or if you've talked to vendors and you tell them you want to sell on Amazon, you know that it's getting a little bit harder and harder every time. More and more companies are like, no, we don't want our products on Amazon, or we already have way too many Amazon sellers on our products, or their frustration is that the product that they have, they want it to sell for 20, but on Amazon it's 15, and they can't do anything about it. It's so hard for them to police it. And so with private label, you're telling them, okay, look, forget about your brand. We want to buy your product, but we want to put it on our brand, different listings, different pictures, could be even the same pictures maybe, but completely different listings, different brand. They're like, oh yeah, that's fine. It doesn't matter. There's one company in particular that Jenny and I have in a private label in a box, which we may or may not talk about, but they have on their website that they do not want any more Amazon sellers. But I specifically asked them, I understand your policy on that, but can we do this? And I explained the easy way. Can I take your product, take it out of your packaging, put it in my own packaging with my own sticker or my own label or whatever, and sell it on Amazon on a different listing? They're like, yeah, that's fine. So once people understand this, guys, you're not going to run across resistance. So that's the the point of that was that it's just so easy. Even wholesale companies and this is my main source for private label is wholesale companies. So it's just a different way of thinking about it. You're not buying it to sell on their listing, their exact item. You're buying their items, but then putting it in different packaging with their permission. You're never doing this, just doing it. Definitely ask permission before you do this. And I'll get to the test here in a minute on what you're looking for these. You're not just going to do it on every single product. There's certain products you're looking for, but it's, majority of products work. Minimums as low as 1 case. This is how I got started. I think I bought 2 or 3 cases actually, because I wanted to have enough to do a test. But with this method, the risk is so low because your investment is so super low. Mm-hmm. So with 1 case of an item, like for me, it would have been like $120 for a case to get started. And if your items are even cheaper than that, then your investment's even smaller. So guys, that's why I love this method, because there's so many folks that want to do private label, but it scares the whatever out of them, and they just are like, I don't want to spend $10,000 on a product that's not tested. I don't know what's going to work. That's just too much of a risk. So guys, with private label, the easy way you can get started so super low, so super cheap. And again, with Chrissy's method, she does it with under $100, sometimes under 50. Yeah, go ahead.
With Mike's method of doing research, you can just have 1 or 2 products and send those in and get and let that do some of your research for you. Collect data on that before you pull the trigger on getting even a case.
That's true. Yeah, so we had Mike Russo's in our mentoring program, and he had a webinar a couple weeks ago. It was about Amazon pay-per-click ads, their sponsored ad program. And guys, he's a genius with this. Mm-hmm. He will buy just even 1 or 2 to test it, send it in so that he can collect the data on the ads. And so the beauty of all that is that before sending into Amazon, you're just kind of guessing at there's tools you can use like Jungle Scout and Merchant Words and Keyword Inspector to think, I think this is going to do well. I think this many people have bought this. That's what it says. But until you actually send it in, you don't really know. And so he's sending in 1 or 2 just to collect data, and he's able to look at Amazon sponsored ad data, and it's telling him how many people have searched for that item over this last week. How many people out of that clicked on my ad? How much am I spending? And so all that to say is that you can test it very, very, very small, even less than a case. Mm-hmm. And you're like, yeah, this looks like it's going to be a winner. Let's send it in. Let's buy 12. Let's buy 24 or whatever. And then the next time you sell it through, okay, let's order 50 now. So it, guys, is just so gradual. And that's why I'm just so thankful that I've been able to teach this and get people. It's just a way to dip your toe in the water without jumping completely in. And it's a way to get started, very low risk, very low investment. Of course, no customs issues ever. Don't have to deal with any of that. I wouldn't even know what to do with customs. The people that do this. Now, all this to say, guys, and please don't think I'm bashing the way of sourcing from China. Absolutely nothing wrong with doing it that way. It's just, for me, when I got started, it wasn't the best route for my business. I didn't have the money to do it right, and it quite frankly scared me to think, I'm going to be spending $10,000 on a product that I've not tested. And so there's lots of people, my very close friends, that do private label. They source from China. They do it very well. So if that's the way you end up going and doing it, that's totally fine. But maybe private label, the easy way, is kind of your entry point into private label. Then you can go and maybe source the same product, because now it's already tested. So if you get a product that's you found wholesale, you've got it, you got it started, you did the test, Amazon data is backing it up that this is going to be a good product. So you order, 20 now. Next order, you order 50. You sell through those. Okay, great. This is going well. So maybe eventually you do think about sourcing overseas and getting even better margins. So that always is an option. It's just, for starting out, I think this is much, much better to do it this way. Yeah. Unless you have $1 million in the bank just sitting around that you can just throw around and test with it, and you don't care if you lose it, then that's cool. But most of us aren't in that position. So let's start slow. Let's start small. Let's test it out, see if it works.
Well, and just to say, in the mentoring group, we do have people, experts in there, who have done the China way, and that's the only way they've done it. Skip McGrath is in there. Joy. Yep. So if that's the route that you want to go, and there's reasons that you have to do that, then
Sure.
we have resources to help with that as well.
Absolutely. Low shipping cost, obviously for me, it's $25 for them to deliver to me. So unless you get lucky and have a supplier that's in your same town, you might have to pay a little bit more than that, but still it's way better than thousands and thousands of dollars of ocean freight or air freight. And some of them can even ship to Amazon for you. I know of at least, now you got to be careful. I want to make sure that they know what they're doing. But there are at least one company I know of that will that's already has an FBA program already in place. They're used to doing this and can actually do all this whole process for you. So you could be in Australia and never see or touch your product, and they can do all the switching out for you and put your label on it and send it to Amazon for you. So none of the companies I work with right now do this, but a lot of them out there can. So it is very possible. The other thing you could do, though, is use a prep center. So send it to somebody like the Bullards in Tennessee, have them ship, and they actually do this for one of my products, have the company ship to them. The Bullards will switch out the packaging for you, put your label on it or your sticker or whatever you need, and send it to Amazon for you. You never even have to see it. How awesome is that? Obviously, it's very fast. Again, I was saying with one of my products, I can literally email them in the morning, and a few hours later, they'll have it delivered to me. With China, it's easily 60 to 90 days by the time you order it for you to have it. So 7-step test for private label. What products are you looking for? And this is kind of across the board, whether it's easy way or hard way. But especially for the easy way method, we're looking for generic, non-brand driven items. So when we talk about switching out packaging, you're not going to go into the Nike outlet and you're not going to take a Nike shoe out of the box and put it in your own box and brand it the Mikey shoe. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about generic, non-brand driven stuff. So an example, things that won't work, a Nike shoe, an iPhone. We're looking for things that if you took it out of one package and put it in another, you don't know the difference. You can't tell whether it's company A's product or company B. So the green beans, for example, you open up the can of green beans, you can't tell me, oh, those are Green Giant green beans and these are here Great Value green beans. They're the same green beans, they're just different labels on the outside. Those are the type of products we're looking for. So anything that doesn't have the brand name written all over it, and it's so many products, thousands and thousands and thousands of products are open, but pretty generic, non-brand driven, where the brand doesn't drive the sales. It doesn't, you don't know whether company A's product or B's product, and it doesn't really matter either way. Small. Now, these are just very general tests for me, very general requirements. If you find something that's larger, that's maybe even oversized, go for it. If the margins are there, that's totally fine. But I'm talking about when you're starting out with private label, I think it's better to go with something small so that you're not dealing with the oversized fees with Amazon. And obviously it's easier to ship, easy to replicate. If you're having somebody change it from red to blue or whatever, most of the time I'm not doing this. I'm using the exact same product as is, just switching out the packaging. But if you were going to change something about it, it would be easy to change. For not many working parts. So I would stay away from things that are like electronic or just have things that could break down and go wrong and get customer complaints. Electrical stuff, a hair dryer, curling iron, those kind of things I would probably shy away from. Again, though, there's so many private label folks out here talking about this type of stuff that if you did choose to go something in that direction, you probably have even less competition. But starting out, I believe that it's best to do something that's simple, not many working parts, just to get your feet wet. It's my opinion there. Retail price between $10 and $50. Again, this is not a hard and fast rule. The reason I say this is because below $10, you're going to get a lot of Amazon fees. The fees from Amazon, the FBA, the pick and pack fee are going to eat up your profits. Over $50, then you start to get into higher priced items, and your cost of goods is going to be higher, so your investment's going to be more. And so obviously more investment equals a greater risk. So I like the $10 to $50 price point, but when I met Christy, she just blew this out of the water, and she will find items very easily that she can source for less than $1 and sell for 8, 9, 10. One example I think I have in here is buy for $1, sell for $12. So normally I would look at an item that's like less than $1 and think, not a good private label product. But guys, with Chrissy's method, you're going to love it. Is literally find something for less than $1, sell it for 8, 9, or 10. Your profit's $5 on a $1 item. It's a 500% return on investment. That's nuts. So I'm excited to tell you about that here in a minute. Sales rank. So for me, this is the way I teach this is whatever you're currently at with sales rank. If you're doing retail arbitrage and you're doing, home and kitchen items and you like to be under, let's say 500,000 rank, we'll stick with that with private label. So I know that a lot of if you're sourcing from China, you want a very low sales rank, very like way under 1% in this top level category because you want it to move quick because you just spent $10,000 on this stuff. You want it to move fast. You want to get your money back so you can buy more. So you just need, you need a very good sales rank. But with private label, the easy way, if you can find it very quickly, find it very easily, a very low investment, low risk, then it's okay if your sales rank's higher. So all that to say, guys, whatever you want it to be, whatever the sales rank you're comfortable with, just stick with that. Number of reviews. This one for me is a little bit more of something that I think is more important. I like to. If I'm using Jungle Scout, I really look at the competition in Jungle Scout. Jungle Scout helps me a lot with determining how too competitive a product is. I want to see in the top 10 for that item so like if I type in the word, let's look at something here's on my desk, Sharpie pen, I wouldn't use that as an example for private label, but coaster. So I got a glass of water here and I have a coaster underneath it. So if I was wanting to do private label coasters, I would type in, coaster, for example, or drink coaster or whatever. Of the products that come up in the top 10, I want to see at least 3 to 4 of those out of the top 10 have less than 50 reviews. If I see that, then I know it's not too competitive. If there's not more than 3 to 4 products that have less than 50, then I would probably stay away with that. Yeah, Chrissy says she knows she loves coasters. Yeah, I forgot about that. They're just sitting right here. You could do coasters with her method. I can't wait to tell you her method. You're probably going to be like, well, why isn't she on here instead of you? Number of reviews is very important. I like to have, again, if it's in the top 10, I want to have 3 or 4 items out of the top 10 have less than 50. If it's not, then there's way too many. Don't put your hopes in one item. There's so many different products. Another thing, guys, is let the data drive you. Don't think, oh, because I think this is going to sell, it's going to sell. You don't know that. Let the data help you make these decisions. All right, examples. So here's a bamboo expandable cutlery tray. So the main reason I picked this one is it's very generic, non-brand driven. There's not a bamboo cutlery tray that I don't think. I'm not an expert in bamboo trays, but I don't believe that there is one brand of bamboo trays that you have to have. Like if you don't buy this one, then you're buying junk. So this is a good example of a generic non-brand driven type of product. Now it looks like it might be a little big. I can't tell. It actually does say, just says large standard. So we're okay there. It is large, but it's not oversized. The price point's good. The rank is obviously very good. Now I haven't done all the research on this to tell you. I wouldn't go out and actually private label this based on this webinar for sure, because I haven't done all the research that I normally do for products, but I just went and found some products that look generic, non-brand driven, and that would be a potential private label thing. And this wouldn't, this would be hard. Yeah, this would be a great starting point. I wouldn't think this would be hard to source. And just to give you a sneak peek on if I was going to do this, if I was going to source this product, I would just go to Google. Google is your friend. And I would just look up bamboo cutlery tray and I would type in wholesale. I would say bamboo cutlery tray manufacturer, bamboo cutlery tray private label. For me, the biggest search term, guys, is wholesale. Bamboo cutlery tray wholesale. There's going to be somebody that's bringing this already in overseas. This is probably made in China, like most products seems like. And so just find a wholesale company. Again, find a wholesale company. That's, if you can learn anything from this webinar that will change how you view private label and how easy it can be, is find a company that's already importing this stuff. Start very small quantities, even a case or maybe even less. Test it, see if it works first before you go and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on something that's untested. Next is, these are some compost bags. Again, very generic, non-brand driven. There's not a certain brand of compost bag that dominates the market, I don't believe anyway. So this would be an easy thing to source, and this would also be a very easy thing to do. Again, there's not one, you take these out of the bag, you're not going to know whether it's from it looks like it's UNNI brand. So if I had the Rieger brand compost bags, nobody's going to think, ooh, these aren't Uni brand. These must not be any good. So again, very generic, non-brand driven, something that's very easy to source. Thermal laminating pouches, 200 pieces. Again, generic, non-brand driven. I think you guys get it. Price points, a good price point. If you could find these for $5 or $6, that would be a good place. I like to have at least 100% ROI. If I think it's going to do really well, or I test something and it sells fast, but I'm only getting 50% ROI, I'm cool with that. But prefer 100. So again, laminating pouches, again, this would be something that would be, I wouldn't think this would be hard to source. Haven't tried to source these, but wouldn't be hard to do that. All right, here's our lovely tent stakes. For those of you that are in the private label mentoring program, in the lessons we talk about tents and camping and all that. So here's some tent stakes. They're 8 count. They come with a bag. Very generic, non-brand driven. The price point's, right at $10. So that's a good starting price point. If you could get these for, $2, maybe $3, depending on how fast they would sell. Again, don't look at the number of reviews on this one. If I was going to source this, or if I was thinking about private label for this, literally what I would do is I would use Jungle Scout, use their Chrome extension. I would type in tent stake or tent stakes, and I would look at the listings that come up. I would look and see if there's enough demand. Are of the top 10, are they selling a decent amount that meets my criteria for what's a good demand? And then look at the number of reviews. If are there 3 to 4 of them that have less than 50, then this would be one I would consider looking at. And these would be easy to source. And if, at the very least, for you guys that think that you might be hard to source everything in the United States, there's AliExpress. Skip McGrath uses AliExpress a lot. AliExpress is I think it's a part of Alibaba, and you can buy just a couple of an item through AliExpress. You guys, there are people, and I learned this I think from Christy, that there are people that will drop ship from AliExpress. They'll set up whole websites that they'll populate it with AliExpress items and ship directly to their customers from AliExpress. And so take advantage of that, even for samples and for just testing out products. So another option for you, a whole other business model. All right, zombie gnomes. This is my friend Lance Wolf's example. When I did a webinar back last year with him, he brought this one up. So again, gnomes are kind of a popular garden thing, and zombies obviously are popular with the Walking Dead stuff. So that would be something that a lot of people are already searching for the term zombie. So this is going to come up if they're looking for zombie-related decor. But the reason I bring this one up here is that this would be very easy to take out of that box and put it in your own white box like this, or a brown box, and literally just put your brand name, get a sticker, get a sticker made, get somebody on Fiverr to create a design for you, a logo, and just put that zombie gnome right in that box right there with your sticker. Now, Mike Russo, who's in our mentoring program and did the webinar with us a couple weeks ago about Amazon PPC ads, he was telling us he doesn't even start with a sticker. He starts even less. He'll just buy 1 or 2. So let's say this would be his process, guys. If he was going to buy a zombie gnome, and he wanted to test it out. So he thinks he's done all the research that he believes, like, I think this zombie gnome is going to be a great product for private label. You don't really know until you actually launch it. So he'd buy a few of these. He would send them to Amazon. He would probably, I would think he would probably take it out. He might not even take it out of this box. He'd probably use this exact box right here just to test the keywords, because he's just looking for the keyword zombie gnome. He's looking to see how many people search for this. You could just sell this exact same one because you're just going after the data. Then if it's successful, he wants to move forward, then he would take it out of the packaging, put it in a box like this, have a sticker made, a brand. So the reason I'm going into this, and I've never gone this deep into a introductory webinar before, is just to tell you that it could even be simpler. You don't even have to don't even think about designers, don't even think about logos or what your brand name is going to be. Just get something launched, get the data back, then decide whether it's even going to be successful for you or not. But once it is, it's so easy. You don't have to, like, for example, don't think about having some company come out with some beautiful box like this. Not that this box is that beautiful, but you don't have to have a designer come up with all, your own artwork and all that. Guys, just get a white box, a brown box. Now, if you're selling, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just to say your customers are not looking at this item on a shelf. They're looking at the pictures on Amazon. And so you have pictures of the item. They're really not going to care what the box that it comes in looks like, as long as it's well packaged and, not broken or whatever. So as far as who your audience is with Amazon, it doesn't matter if this is in a white box, a brown box, a black box, a blue box. Whatever. That's not, and putting your brand's name, even without a logo, just having it typed out on an address label is enough, especially with Mike's methods for sending things in to collect the data.
Yep, that's so true. So, I mean, guys, I'm learning all the time. I'm learning new methods. It's why we have people like Christy and Abe and Mike in our mentoring program, is because they come up with new twists and ways to do it even easier than I ever thought about. And so I am not shy about bringing people along and saying, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about on this. Like, guys, I'm not the expert on Amazon sponsored ads. I've learned very fast that I don't know everything. So I partner up with people like Jenny, who do, and just say, hey, she's got it going on this product. We'll let her teach this. So we have the benefit of so many different people that I can pull from to come up with great content. But that's why, like, just this webinar right here that I'm doing right now has changed over the last year or so, because I'm learning new things and learning things like Mike is talking about. Start even simpler. Like before, guys, I was talking about training people on how to, before you launch a product, let's get a brand name, let's get a logo. Well, don't even have to do that, honestly. You just want to get the data. Let's see if the zombie gnome is going to work first before we go to the process of even hiring a guy on Fiverr to do a package or to do a sticker. But let's say it's working, you like it. Then you want to get a brand name, you want to get a logo, you want to get whatever designed, then it's so simple just to put it on a white box or a brown box. And I use printrunner.com, uprinting.com for the stickers. And so simple, just take it and put it on the outside of the packaging. So this tip right here hopefully was worth your time, just being on this webinar, is to just go to a place like Fiverr and have them, come up with a design for you for your logo and slap a sticker on the front. It doesn't have to be a beautiful design box, like Jenny is saying. So just start small, test it, and then work your way up. And now I want to just briefly tell you about the Private Label the Easy Way mentoring program. So what Jenny and I did was we took the book, Private Label the Easy Way, and broke it down into 6 modules with 17 lessons. We take the process all the way from how to pick a product, how to find a supplier, how to create a good listing, how to get sales and reviews, and put those into lessons. We also then went and did a live webinar series with 6 videos. Took the 6 modules, put them into video format, did a live webinar, and had people ask questions, and we recorded all that. And we're actually getting ready to do a whole new series as well. but that's in there as well. We have folks like Skip McGrath, Christy Michelle, Abe Ortolani, Mike Russo, Joy Packard's in the group that are able to help you out every step of the way. There's a private Facebook community. That's really the big heart of it. And the biggest value of the mentoring program is this private Facebook community where you can ask us questions. Jenny and I are in there every single day, monitoring that, answering questions, posting new content. And guys, there's always new content in that group, and so it's such a valuable group. We got a large number of people in there now, and so it's just dynamic. It's everybody's very helpful, and so if you're new at all to private label, then it's a great place to be. There's no dumb question. Everybody's welcome. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to email me. You can also just, for more information, there's a link at the bottom of this at the bottom of the video in the description box, but also you can just go to privatelabeltheeasyway.com/mentoring if you want more information about the mentoring program. So that's a great way to get started, get a fast track going to get your first private label product in and selling. So guys, thank you so much for being on this webinar this evening. It's been a pleasure going through the Easy Way process to show you just how easy private label can be for you. If you have questions, please let me know. I just would love to hear from you. And thanks again for joining us. Have a great evening.